Is iRacing adding too many tracks into the game? This might seem like a really stupid question. Of course you want more tracks in the game, why would you not want more tracks? But there has been a trend over the past few years that any new track added into the game almost becomes a complete ghost town in its first year. Are these resources better used just upgrading more popular current tracks to newer skins to compete with other sim racing titles? That's what we're going to go over today. I'm going to mainly stay on the road course side of things because on ovals, we pretty much have all of the tracks that we already want because everything on the NASCAR schedule in the top 3 series is already in iRacing. Well, except for that one. Pretty typical. And then if we go to the dirt side of things, they want all of the tracks they can get because there still isn't that many dirt ovals on the iRacing service yet. Recent tracks that have been added like Millbridge have been an instant hit and schedules no longer really have to double up on certain tracks anymore. But then I think there's one more discipline that iRacing is forgetting about. I think I'm forgetting about it too. I'll think of it later. But the main meat and potatoes here is going to be what is iRacing doing with their selection of road courses that they're adding. Here is a list of all of the road courses added in the past 3 years in chronological order, with the top being the most recent. Also, I don't really know why I included Chicago Street Course on this list. I can just crop that out. That's a weird one. That's just for NASCAR. I can't imagine the riots that would happen if someone put that on like the F4 schedule or something like that. But the first 2 tracks on this list show the first part of the trend very nicely. You have Portimao and you have Mugello, and both of them are being used more than any other road course over the past 2 seasons. You literally cannot escape Portimao this season. If you want to run a full season in anything in both the sport cars and the formula cars, you probably need to buy Portimao to do it. Same exact thing with Mugello. Last season used 28 times and this season it's been used 23 times, almost inescapable. But if we go to Lebanon, the third example on this list released only 3 seasons ago, it is probably the worst example of a brand new track not being used in iRacing. In only its second season, it was not used at all. That's right, not a single series used Lebanon the season after it was released. In its first season, it was used 10 times, and you really couldn't escape it yet again. It was in the Formula Ford, it was in the Ferrari GT3s, it was in the sports car series. But if you wanted to run that same track again because you liked it in the second season it was available, no luck. To the point where they actually made the track free in its 3rd season. That's right, this track was a paid track and only was used for 2 seasons until going free. And do you think anybody who bought the track got a refund? That's right, nope. Now to its credit, because it's gone free, it is now being used in 12 series this season, which is great. Having extra free tracks is a great option for rookie series and other series that you want to pepper with free tracks to make more accessible. But at the same time, they are alienating the people who bought the track in the first season thinking that they were going to miss out on something and then have them completely be ghosted in the second season and then boom, it's free, no refund. It's a little bit ridiculous. Another track that's gone completely ghost town less than a year after being released was Willow Springs. It's only being used once this season in the Formula 4 North America Tour, which basically only goes official a few times a day. So let's say you bought Willow Springs thinking it was going to be one of the next big tracks because it's pretty easy, it's pretty accessible, people have played it in different games before. Nope, if you bought it a few seasons ago and you're running it now, you get to use it 1 week in a single car for maybe a few races. The other 3 tracks released around the same time, give or take a season, Aragon, Jerez, and Magny Cours, they're all still paid and they all have been used a similar amount, maybe 4, 5, or 6 times per season. And to give you a perspective on that, that puts these tracks in the bottom quarter of track usage in all of iRacing. Sandown and Knockhill are 2 other really big offenders of this. In the 2+ years that they've been on iRacing, they have been paid tracks the entire time, and also some of the least amount of usage of any track on iRacing consistently season after season. And in Knockhill's case, most of the races run on that are on the dirt road course. Oh yeah, dirt road does exist. So the trend really has been, if you buy a brand new track, it is going to be one of the least used tracks in iRacing within a year when you buy it. And finally, the last paid track on this list, the Hungaroring. Now, you could argue that this is really the only big ticket track on this list. I think maybe Portimao or Mugello might also be a big ticket track, but the Hungaroring's on the F1 schedule. It has big races there, it has a name to it, and because of that, it has seen consistent usage ever since it's been released about 3 years ago. But this pretty much shows that if a track has a big name, it'll be used. But why is that? Does iRacing not like small tracks? Well, the majority of schedules on iRacing are actually community voted, usually when they're not tied to a series like NASCAR or IndyCar or INSA. I guess IndyCar is a bad example right now, isn't it? But when a series doesn't follow a real-life official series, then either iRacing will just make the schedule, which is for some of them, but a large portion of them are community-made and voted. And when the community votes on a schedule, they tend to do a few things. Number one is they tend to go to tracks that they like. And then number two is they tend to go to tracks that they own. And then number three is they tend to go to tracks where they don't have to put in as much work. And unfortunately, if you are a lesser known brand new track, you don't really fit any of these categories. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Nobody uses you because you're not on any schedules, and you're not on any schedules because nobody uses you. And so one of the recent solutions that iRacing has done, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this honestly, is they've been starting to make some of these lesser used tracks free. And honestly, I think that's the perfect solution to this except for one thing that they've done. In the case of Oschersleben, it went from being used twice last season to 17 times this season because it is now free. But that track was released 2 years ago. Same thing with Winton. It went from being a complete ghost town to now being a slightly less ghost town. I mean, I guess it's above average in track usage, which I don't think Winton has ever been before. But again, Winton is over 2 years old at this point. But they did the same exact thing, like I said earlier, to Lebanon, which was only released 2 seasons prior to being made free. And that is going to alienate the people that just buy brand new tracks blindly. So why would I even buy any brand new tracks thinking that it has the chance to go free in the next couple of seasons? Well, the main reason is what we see right on the top, is these new tracks being shoehorned into many schedules. Basically, when you are paying the $15 for a track, you are paying to use it for that season. Buying one of these new tracks when it's already gone dead seems like some of the biggest waste of money that you can do on iRacing, hence why they probably make it free. So I think the moral of the story is when you are buying a brand new track on iRacing, you should recognize why you are buying it and what type of track it is. If it's one of the big ticket tracks like the Hungaroring, chances are that is never going to go free no matter how much you want it to, and it'll probably see consistent usage into the future. But if it's a lesser known track that fewer people are interested in innately, then that might be something that you might say, okay, do I really need this track to run the series that I want to run this season? And if so, it's probably still worth the purchase, but if not, you might be able to catch it going free sooner than you think. And to be clear, I really like that iRacing is making more of these road courses free. It's really making these series more accessible at the lower tiers, and I think it's going to help keep the number of drivers on the sim up as we go into the future. But what they shouldn't do is exactly what they did with Lebanon, make people think that they wasted their money by buying a track by not supporting it and then making it free and then not giving anybody money back for it. So should iRacing just not make any more new road courses and rescan the ones that are already popular? I don't think that's quite the answer. Because one, they're still doing it. The Spa rescan, to my knowledge, looks as good as any sim out there. Maybe I'm biased or maybe I don't care about road enough to see the differences, but I think also the majority of people that rant and rave about iRacing's graphics are the ones that don't really care as much about driving and more about looking at the stuff around them. But that's a topic for another day. In conclusion, yes, go ahead and add all the tracks you want on iRacing. They will be gladly welcomed, but for the people who are going to be buying these tracks, you just need to know what you're getting into so that you don't feel a little bit ripped off. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you bought a track recently that you just don't use at all? And what is your experience with driving on these brand new tracks? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you rather drive Spa for the 20 millionth time? Let me know. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. I hope to see you all on the track.